So now with Kamala Harris running for office, you have a big divide in the black community. And you have some people that's pro Kamala. You have some people that's voting for Trump. You have some people that's just saying, you know what, man, they're going to sit on the couch and we're going to sit this one out. We're not voting for nobody because we don't like neither one of the policies, right? But then you have people like Stephen A. Smith. I don't know where he is from time to time. I don't know because he's always trying to appease the W folks. Then he tries to act like he's with the black community where he represents the elite rich boule. He doesn't give a damn about us. But then you have Willie D. Willie D talks a lot of the black stuff and he says he's 10 toes down, but he's in full support of Kamala. Anybody but Trump. You know, he has a deep-seated, hatred for Trump. And to some degree, I can understand why with some of the things Trump does, but I just think that he overlooks some of the Kamala's policies, right, and Joe Biden's policies. But y'all don't have a problem with them, but you hate Trump so much. So that's just my opinion. But these two are at odds with each other. They're going back and forth. They're beefing. Stephen A. Smith now has called Kamala Harris out and called the Democratic Party to the carpet. Oh, and Willie D didn't like that. Willie D is upset. Willie D struck back, and now he's coming directly for Stephen A. Smith's neck. But let's first check out what Stephen A. Smith had to say about Kamala Harris and what he thought about the Democratic Party, and we'll come right back.
Now, I've been on the record. I'm going to support my sister Kamala Harris. HBCU grad just like myself, Vice President of the United States of America, former Attorney General for the state of California, former District Attorney in the city of San Francisco. I see what folks have been saying, not all, not most, but some folks have been trying to say about her. You understand, questioning her intellect and all of this other stuff. Now, I ain't going for that. We ain't going to get into the questioning her ethnicity either. You don't sit up there and get to tell us if we got a speck of black in our blood, then guess what? We black. But then all of a sudden, she's running for the president of the United States. You want to ask questions, is she black or is she Indian? I don't know. No, we don't get to do that. We ain't doing that, all right? But having said all of that, fair is fair. Fair is fair to independents out there. Fair is fair to conservatives and Republicans out there. There's certain things that we have to hold both sides to. Now, Joe Biden stepped aside as the presumptive Democratic nominee on July 21st. Okay? Now I'm going to look at this right now. I'm looking at my calendar because I just want to make sure. July 21st was a Sunday. We've had 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and 1 day since Joe Biden stepped aside. The only damn place we've seen Kamala Harris is at pep rallies. What's up? Somebody got to say something. And it can't just be the conservatives. Right is right. I'm talking to my sister here. Come on now. You running for the presidency of the United States of America. You got my vote. You running for the presidency of the United States of America. What you hiding for? And I mean hiding in plain sight. Somebody got to say it. Somebody got to say it. Now, you can't be running for the presidency of the United States. Not one single press conference, not one single one-on-one sit-down interview where somebody gets to question you about the questions that we ask. That's not fair. That's not fair. And if you're a conservative and you out there lambasting her for it, ridiculing her for it, trying to torment her for it or whatever, it is perfectly within your right to do so. All of you anti-conservatives out there, shut the hell up. That's a valid point. It ain't valid to bring up a blackness or an Indian heritage and to try to point to things of that nature. That's nonsense. But to ask her about her record, because she is attached to the Biden record, is definitely apropos, especially when you were bragging about the record. We talked about Biden being a transformative president. Well, stand on it then. Stand on it. Where you at? No George Stephanopoulos, no Meet the Press, no State of the Union. What's up? No Face the Nation. No Politico. No MSNBC. I understand why you wouldn't do Fox. Liberals don't really do Fox, just like conservatives don't really do MSNBC. You're welcome to the Stephen A. Smith Show. I will gladly interview Donald Trump. I will gladly interview Kamala Harris. Name the time or place. I'll come to you. I'll come to you. I'll show up. Anytime. And I'm no political aficionado. I'm going to need fact checkers. I don't know everything that y'all going to say. But I know this much. I know how to ask the questions that Americans want to know. Kamala Harris, there are certain things that we have to ask you a question about. There's simply no way of getting around certain things. Weren't you against fracking? Is that true? And now you're for it? Just asking. These are important questions to think about. You're going to intensify and elevate the importance of securing our borders. Were you always that way? These are legitimate questions. You no longer support a national ban on fracking. Also, you no longer support the elimination of private health insurance. Is it true that one time you supported those things? When did your mind change? How long ago was that? When were you going to tell the American people? Why'd you keep it from everybody? And yes, it is a legitimate question. How much did you know about Joe Biden and the slippage? The cognitive decline that so many people have alluded to on both sides of the aisle now.
I will be the first to say that Stephen A. is full of crap because I know how to listen to words and understand what he's saying. He's upset because the Democratic Party and Kamala Harris is going to talk to these young rappers and internet sensations, and they bringing on Quavo, and they bringing on Meg Thee Stallion to twerk that funky booty and all kinds of stuff. And they're not going to talk to these so-called, elite blacks. They're not talking to them. He's scratching his head and trying to understand, why didn't you come talk to me? I'm Stephen A. Smith. Why would you go talk to Quavo? Why would you want to talk to Kai Cent? Or whatever that boy name is, that little boy name is. But, so that's basically what he's saying. And he's saying that she's invisible because she's not invisible. She's been around. She's just not going to talk to the black elites or the black class that can ask her the tough questions that she may not be able to answer. So she's there. But Willie D heard this, and Willie D responded in Willie D fashion. He responded to Stephen A. Smith by saying this.
I think Stephen A. Smith called out Kamala Harris because Stephen A. Smith likes to play both sides of the fence. He want to make sure that he's good with black folks, and he wants to make sure he's good first and foremost with white folks. He got to make sure he's good with white folks. So he got to throw something out there to make them say, yeah, see, that's my boy right there. That's my guy right there. That's my guy. That's my guy. Stephen A. He's a good guy. You know what I'm saying? He hold black people accountable. This is reminiscent of Stephen A. calling out Will Smith, telling Will Smith he needs to talk to the black community. He owes the black community an apology. Nobody's sitting up here thinking about Will Smith owing the black community an apology at all. Ain't nobody even on that time. Will Smith has already been punished for that incident at the Oscars. He's been punished socially, career-wise, and financially. Chris Rock has already dealt with the embarrassment of the situation and has been back out on stage and made his money doing stand-up and he's doing movies. Everybody kind of like those two has gone about their business. And out of nowhere, when Will Smith gets a hit movie, Stephen A decides, let me hold him accountable though. I ain't got over it. You owe the black community an apology. Nobody was on that time. I don't even think he thinks this stuff through. As smart as he is, I just don't think he thinks these social issues through.
Now, Willie D heard all this and he went right to social media, right to Willie D Live, and called out Stephen A. Smith again, for his shenanigans. And like he said, a lot of y'all out there, wouldn't even care about her being so-called visible and invisible until Stephen A. Smith said what he said. So Willie D is upset, and we already know that Willie D has a history of just going after Stephen A. Smith, saying that he sells out the black community, especially black men. He is not for the community. But we have yet to see Stephen A. Smith respond back to what Willie D has said. He hasn't done it yet, but there was a second half to what Stephen A. Smith was saying, because he was saying that she was invisible. And like I said, she's not invisible. She's right there. She's just not going to talk to, like he mentioned Joy Reid and all these people that she need to go talk to. But she's not going to go talk to those people. She went to talk to Stephen A. Smith, Steve Harvey. She went to talk to him, the comedians, and all these people that's not going to ask her the tough questions. But let's listen to the second half of what Stephen A. Snitch had to say.
I support Kamala Harris over Donald Trump. But fair is fair. Why is it more important than ever before? I could bring up Hillary Rodham Clinton in 2016. And I understand that James Comey came about and basically got in the way of everything with the whole deleted email scandal just a couple of weeks before Election Day. But isn't it true that you thought you had the election in the bag and didn't necessarily campaign in places like Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, swing states like that, prior to the election, while Donald Trump did campaign in those elections in 2016? Is it not true that just in this cycle, that there wasn't really a primary for the Democrats? Because the way was paved for President Joe Biden. This is not about Kamala Harris. This is about the Democratic Party. How dare you? How dare you? If the man is ready and qualified to run for the presidency of the United States of America, why are you getting in the way of competition? Let the American people decide. I don't give a damn if it's Dean Phillips or somebody else. Let us decide. We're the voters. Let us decide. That's all I'm saying. I'm talking to the Democrats and the Republicans. You see, when you want to sit up there and you want to crucify Donald Trump, I'm down for that. I don't like a lot of stuff about Donald Trump. I can't deny, however, the man does a whole bunch of interviews. Getting ready to get interviewed by Elon Musk. Showed up to the National Association of Black Journalists. Knew that wasn't going to be a pleasant experience. You saw him. You didn't even say hello. How are you? We saw that. But he was there. I saw Ron DeSantis, Chris Christie, Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley. I saw people trying to knock him off in the primaries. The Republican conservative folks in this country spoke. We want Donald Trump, they said. Okay. 2 impeachments, $454 million civil case, 34 felony convictions. They said, we don't give a damn. He's our guy. Did we really get to make that choice about Joe Biden? We didn't. Because there was no primary. Perhaps if there was competition, perhaps if he had to compete for the position, and we heard other voices emanating from the Democratic side, from the left side, from the progressive side, we would have felt better. But the road was paved for Joe Biden to cakewalk to the Democratic convention to be the official Democratic nominee until he showed up for a debate on June 27th. And all hell broke loose thereafter. Had it not been for that, all we would have been doing was talking. But he still would have showed up in Chicago a week from now for the Democratic National Convention and pushed in as the Democratic nominee. Wait a minute. If that's the case, what's right about that? Now, you Kamala Harris, let me say this. I'm not saying this to malign you. I'm saying this because I believe in you. I believe you show up on a debate stage against Donald Trump and you'll do your thing. That sister will come out and you'll be ready. As you stated eloquently during your first press conference as a presumptive nominee, I know Donald Trump's type. So you can handle your business. I believe. Do you believe? What's up? This strategy that everybody's invoking. Let's not say anything. I'm not saying the strategy wasn't good to this point. But remember, I was the one that said a year ago, we needed a new president for the next election. Joe Biden can't be the guy. Y'all waited about 8 months, but everybody found out I was right. And I'm telling you now, Vice President Harris, this strategy that is working, that has you up in the polls, where you showing up at rallies and that's pretty much press conferences and interviews, that is not going to fly for much longer.
Now, Stephen A. Snitch is asking the Democratic Party and her all the tough questions, right? But that's why she's not going to come talk to you. But you're still saying you will vote for her over Trump. But you're asking her about the policies. You're asking her about does she support fracking. You're asking her this about her policies as far as protecting the border and immigration. You're asking her about these different things, right? You're asking her, are you going to ask her about reparations? Are you going to ask her the real tough questions, right? So my whole thing is I'm sitting it out because I'm voting locally and state, but I don't really care for the presidential election because I don't think that neither one of them supports the black agenda or what the things that move black people forward. That's just my opinion. Don't attack me for it. You can have yours and you run with yours. I'm not in support of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris or Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. I'm not in support of Trump. I don't like Trump's federal judges that he's appointing to the bench. And I don't like the rhetoric that he used to create this firestorm that you see in America again amongst certain W classes. But I also don't like the immigration policies and the disrespect and the lack of tone deaf when it comes to reparations from the party that the black community has been giving their support to for the last 60 years. And how as soon as they get in office, they create crime bills for other groups and act like we're just non-existent. So I'm not going to forget that. But let me know what you guys think about what Stephen A. Smith is saying, because I'm not a big supporter of Stephen A. Smith at all, but I can't disagree with what he said in this video. Usually I ride with Willie D, but Willie D dislikes Stephen A. Smith so much and Trump. Willie D has an opinion. Now, Willie D is my bro, but I don't know if I don't agree with Willie D on this. I actually agree with the sentiments that was laid out by Stephen A. Smith, even though I'm not a supporter of Stephen A. Smith at all. But if he's telling the truth, and I agree, I agree. I disagree with him saying that she's invisible, because she's not invisible. She's just not coming to talk to you. But some of the things that he was saying as far as questioning the Democratic Party, I agree with that. But as far as her being invisible, no, I don't agree with Stephen A. Smith when he says that. She's where they're telling her to be. She's where they're telling her to be. So I'm going to cut this video short here, man. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button. Subscribe to Street Media TV. And leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.